Testing. 1, 2, 3. Okay. So, everything in this video up until this point has looked really nice, right? Kind of a shock, considering how incredibly noisy and crappy looking every other video I've ever shot in this car was. Well, I recently got a new lens for my camera with an aperture of 1.2, and it's enabled me to do a lot of things that I simply couldn't do elegantly before this point. That's got me thinking a lot about my creative goals for this channel and how I want to change Leadhead over 2025. All it takes is one quick glance at my channel to see that 2024 was more or less the worst year yet in terms of view counts. I mean, I've probably gone up about 2,000 subscribers in the last year. You might be surprised to know that this doesn't really bother me whatsoever. I'm not on this earth to make the biggest number possible. I'm here to just leave my mark. And as far as leaving my mark goes, 2024 might just have been my most successful year yet. See, there's two ways to judge my channel. One is the numbers, which, as we've established, is not a good look. But the way that I judge my channel is by the DMs. I've got this folder on my phone, people I've impacted, and with every upload, this folder gets bigger and bigger. If these screenshots are anything to go by, this channel is maybe the best work I've ever done in my life right now. According to all these people, I'm putting words to the nagging thoughts that my audience doesn't even want to think about, and I'm making them feel like it's going to be okay. I'm showing people that they aren't alone in their struggles, or their failures, or their emptiness by sharing my own. And I'm teaching people lessons that have genuine, tangible impacts on their lives. I mean, my videos are fixing people's relationships, getting people to improve themselves, and helping people to be true to themselves. That's not just me saying that either. That's what you all are telling me. With that in mind, it might also surprise you all to know that I'm not completely satisfied with where my channel's at yet. My videos are having the impact on people that I want them to have. I'm achieving my goal of being the internet's big sister. But there's no artistry to how I'm doing things right now. Artistry is something I've always strived for on this channel, but as it stands, almost every creative decision I make is a product of circumstance, not a deliberate, meaningful decision. I pick sad songs for the sad moments, I use slower editing when there's a lot of emotion in my face, and I mean the game backgrounds, they're just whatever I can cobble together within the limitations of the game I'm covering. With far too few exceptions, every single one of my videos is either me sitting in front of a green screen talking about my life, or grainy, difficult to parse footage of me sitting in this car at night, still just talking about my life. These videos are getting further and further away from being video essays and starting to look more like vlogs or journals. So that isn't necessarily a bad thing, but there are a few limitations with both video essays and vlogs that are holding me back creatively in a lot of ways. And those limitations are one of the many things I intend to address in my work over 2025. Before we get into all of that, though, let's take a quick look at what I think used to be my favorite video I've ever made. Disco Elysium, the game that defined me. As many of you will know, the Disco Elysium video was the video that began the Honesty Saga, a series of thematically connected videos that I was working on all through last year and only finished with its final video, Honesty, a couple of months ago. What I like about the Disco Elysium video, though, is, to be honest, something that I kind of stole from my original video on Disco Elysium from a couple of years prior. This video has a character arc in it, or at least it has a character arc in the first 5 minutes of it. See, I started the video out by just having me laying on this filthy, disgusting couch while a voice in my head described my absolute darkest, most intrusive thoughts about my minuscule place in the universe. I framed these as myself talking to the audience, saying, "You're insignificant, you're the loneliest person in the world, you're never going to truly connect with another person." But after that intro sequence, when I sit up on the couch and say, or at least that's how it feels a lot of the time, it becomes clear that that voice in my head is separate from myself, as I am now at least. That voice was just something that used to live in my head until I eventually came to the conclusions that I spend the rest of the video sharing with you. Over the course of the rest of the video, I made a point of having the room I was in get gradually more and more lit up, and I used this special contraption to sort of create the illusion of window blinds, only I made that light get dimmer and dimmer too. All of this to give the impression that the sun was rising as I was slowly recovering from my metaphorical nihilism hangover. But other than that tiny bit of, let's not sugarcoat it, extremely obvious visual symbolism, all I did to convey any sort of character arc was just that thing at the beginning. 2 minutes of nihilism followed by 38 minutes of optimism. Of course, I'm selling the script a little bit short. It's got all sorts of ups and downs, high points and low points, changes and dramatic tension as I describe different parts of my relationship with humanity, but ultimately I'm just telling you a story about myself instead of showing you a story. And that's what I'm doing in my Minecraft video about losing my apartment, and my puppy girl psychoanalysis, and my eco video, and my MGS2 video, my love video, even the honesty video itself. Almost all of them. I'm telling you how I grew as a person, or how I coped with something bad that's happened to me, but I'm not showing you that. You don't get to see me coping or growing or whatever. It's just told to you. My videos are, in that way, still lifes. They just capture a quiet moment in time in which I'm reflecting on a much more interesting moment in time. This was never something I had a problem with. After all, my videos being focused on introspection makes it incredibly easy for my audience to extract lessons from them. But it was during my recent Hurricane Helene video that my creative goals started to broaden a little bit. See, I wasn't lying in that video. Each one of the days in this journal really was written on the day that I said it was. The only thing that I changed after the fact was taking out a little bit of personal information at the kid's request. So when I ended one of the days by saying that I genuinely didn't know if we would have to loot that destroyed dollar store, I really meant that. I didn't know that we would be able to find food in less risky places later. The effect of this was that over the course of the video, you could really feel my perspective on the whole event changing. The optimism I find about the situation at the end of the video feels so much more organic because of that. That video, like almost all of mine, has a happy ending, but the difference is that you can sense genuine relief on my part. You can see me relishing in the happy ending because you saw me stressed out of my mind and the sadness that came before it. A lot of the time, I have to hold back on finalizing a script because I'm just waiting for the happy ending to actually happen in real life. But with the Hurricane Journal, I just wrote as things happened, and personally, I think the script feels a lot more human because of it. Of course, I wasn't able to actually film any of it until well after, so the food you see here is just for display. We didn't actually need to hoard it. But the anxiety was real in the words, even if it wasn't real in my performance. This change in the writing process definitely resulted in the video having a really unique vibe compared to my others. I still don't really know what this means for my channel. I can try to make my videos more narrative focused and really show myself struggling with things, which might deepen the emotional connection the audience has with whatever story I'm telling. But that might also be the bridge too far that makes people less able to feel the hope I want them to feel when they finish one of my videos. When I'm just telling a story about my suffering, it's easy to say, wow, I feel the same way. But when I'm on camera suffering right before your eyes, that might put too much of the focus on me, and the viewers might lose sight of the fact that ultimately they're supposed to be thinking about who they are when they watch these. I want my videos to be about you, the viewer, who experienced something similar. And a dramatic flair attached to my videos might just turn me from a big sister figure into a character, and cheapen the whole emotional connection that my audience has with my work. Like I said, I really don't know how I'm going to experiment with my work to learn more about this dichotomy. Honestly, I'll probably just start writing as soon as the next bad thing happens to me, and see if I can turn those writings into a script once that problem is resolved later down the line. I have no idea what bad life event that video is going to be about, but if the experiment is a success, I might make a habit of that. The issue with this whole idea is that I don't really feel comfortable saying things in a video that I don't agree with. If a video starts with, for example, me saying that I was wronged, only to end with me saying, never mind, I was the asshole, then suddenly you've got me on the internet saying things that I don't agree with. Even if I say something else by the end, the damage is done. And besides, if I make too convincing of an argument in the beginning, it may very well cheapen the lesson that the video was trying to teach in the first place. So I really don't know what all of this will look like once I attempt it. Putting you right in the middle of my trauma isn't the only way that I can add dramatic flair to my videos. Remember how I said I gradually brighten the lights to symbolize the hangover of nihilism going away with the rising sun in my Disco Elysium video? Well, that's an incredibly basic example of what I really want to focus my creative efforts on in 2025. I want to use the visual language of film to sell the emotions I'm describing in a more abstract and visceral way. My previous video, Early Impressions of Motherhood, was my first real thorough attempt at this. It was an experiment with using visuals to add to the narrative of the video. I'm alone throughout the whole video, first sitting in this idealized field, reflecting on a children's story until I get to the point where I start outright rejecting the traditional motherhood archetypes described in the Giving Tree, where I then change out the traditionally beautiful apple tree picnic scenery for a much less naive backdrop of an apple warehouse where I'm surrounded by processed apples as a sort of fuck you to this idea that mothers are just supposed to endlessly sacrifice for 60 years with a smile on their face. Ultimately, I end up in an even less natural environment with an even further dissonance from the traditional beauty of nature. I'm changing the oil in my son's car, and he's sitting there, just out of frame, helping me to do it. The idea was that the further I got from this storybook idealism of a mother sitting under an apple tree, the closer I got to actually bonding with my children, and the closer they got to having an earnest, genuine connection with the real me. Basically, it was all a way for me to visually convey this idea that ditching my own mother's idealistic interpretations of what motherhood was all about was the best way to make sure that the kids and I can both benefit from the relationships that we share with each other. Then, you had me chopping down a tree at the end for the credit shot as a little kicker, leaving the viewer to imagine what the lumber might be going to, whether it be to a fire to keep my kids warm or whatever other thing. Nature symbolized old-school motherhood, and everything I did in the video symbolized how I rejected those values. The video also served as a bit of an epilogue to the Honesty saga, with some shots specifically put in there to symbolize how finding the new type of love I described in the video, love for my kids, has changed my relationship with sex, as these were my first super important relationships outside of my biological family where sex wasn't a motivating factor whatsoever for me. But that was just a little bit of side symbolism for those who are super invested in my story. So, that's my biggest creative goal for 2025. I want more of that. I want to be thinking about the things that I'm saying with my camera angles and direction, and I want to start saying things more deliberately in those ways. I want to spend less time sitting with a single camera angle talking to a camera without any edits for 10 minutes straight, and focusing on making my videos really visually dynamic. I want to make you feel what I'm saying. I want to give you visuals that help convey the parts of my psyche that I simply don't have the time or the ability to put to words without bloating the video well beyond its necessary length. Long story short, I want to make my videos a little bit more like movies. I still want to make these gonzo still life video essays that have become the main concept of my channel, but I don't really want them to feel like video essays anymore. I want them to feel like experimental album tribute videos that happen to use a video essay for the audio rather than music. I'm going to be doing everything I can behind the scenes to improve the production quality of these videos, like any good videographer would do. Buying better equipment, getting better at using it, etc. But like I said in the beginning, I recently got a new lens, and so really pretty shots like these are actually something I can achieve now. So I want to push myself. I don't want to be a video essayist. I want to be a writer and a director who happens to be writing and directing video essays. I'll see you all next year. Okay, the video's done, but there is a little bit more that I want to discuss that didn't quite make it into the script, just about my future plans and what all is going to be happening over 2025 on this channel. One, I want to be nicer to my biological family, by which I just mean not bringing them up anywhere near as much. So yeah, probably not going to be such a laser focus on my mommy issues in future videos as there has been lately on the channel. The video game videos. I still really like the format that I have with those. You know, sitting in front of my green screen, superimpose myself into the game in a way that's meant to look realistic, and edit it and all that as if the video is meant to be an extension of the game itself. I'm still going to be doing those, I'm pretty sure. It's, to be quite honest, pretty difficult to think about a situation where I would really want to talk about a video game. It'll come up, though. I mean, the Honesty Saga was filled with videos that were on the surface about a game, but obviously, when you look deeper about me and my life and the whole arc I was trying to convey in that series. Throughout the whole production process of this video, I was kind of alluding to some sort of big plan for 2025. And I didn't know what that was until a couple nights ago. I was having a very, very, very bad night, and inspiration kind of just struck. I'll throw the image up here, but the way I see it, the Honesty Saga was one season of Leadhead. This next project is going to take place in my mind over the entirety of 2025, and it's going to be the next season of Leadhead. It is, it's going to be called Torment Session 2, and I am very, very, very vigorously working my ass off to plan out what I want to do. I really want to blur the line, like I said in this video, between short film and video essay. In fact, I'm even thinking about coining a pretentious little term like essay movie, essay film, something like that, as opposed to a video essay. It's going to be a continuous series again, so like the Honesty Saga, there will be a benefit to watching them in order, keeping up with the releases. And it's something that I'm going to push myself a lot on. It's something I still need to workshop a little bit, obviously, but I also intend to get to work on that pretty much as soon as this video starts rendering in about 10 minutes. And I really hope to just blow everybody away with it. I have extremely high hopes. I've got a lot of great concepts for what I want this to be. It's something that's very difficult to explain until you've actually seen it, but I think it's something that everyone is going to really like and connect with. And if nothing else, it's something that I will connect with very deeply. Does that mean this style of video is going away? No, I don't think so. It more means this style of video is evolving into something else. I very much intend to make sure that the substance that is on this channel, the substance of these videos, is maintained even as the format changes and evolves into something newer and cooler and more unique that I've never seen before, and as far as I know, nobody's ever done before. As always, I'd like to give a special thanks to the patrons. This has been, so far, the most creatively fulfilling year of my life. I think I'm doing the best work of my life. And that work is not anywhere near as crowd-pleasing as my previous content, where I just covered video games, was. It's a lot more daring, there's a lot less of an audience for it, but the audience that is there, who has chosen to support me financially, is the reason I get to push myself like this, and hopefully create something nobody's ever seen before. So just a massive, massive, massive thanks to the patrons, especially those who donate $10 or more monthly, such as Yaro12, Yoshi Kid, Axel Echo, Coolio Ash, Haypax Legomenon, I'm sorry, Haypax Legomenon, Patient Advocate. When I first saw the notification that you subscribed, I swear to God you did that just to make it difficult for me to read your name, but thank you regardless. Whiskey, 6 Kitchener Road, MT Foxtrot, Swatchbox, Pirate Punkass, Stormy, Mintiest Marana, Paurelia, Uber Blizzard, Kylus, Chloe R, Thea Westfall, Autumn Hawk, Eon Luster, Rivermoon, Cecile, Marcy, Neo Lunatics, Chase Cares, Olive, Agatha Sorceress, Rogue Planet, Lovely Lila, Huntakar, Catalina Cadre, Vivian Ling, Clover Blake, I Eat Teeth, Hazel Dog, Vit B, Edelsis, Bree, Stephanie Starfire, Scott Edwards, Pumpkin, Alex, Isa, One-Eyed Wiley, Maddie Doman, Metamaniac, All Hail Eris, Ave Lunum, The Narcissist Cookbook, Asiobatoon, Guybrush, Lynn Payne, M. Coy, Hazel Pup, Lake, Eva Knight, Mr. Coca-Co, Gwen T, Shay Theus, Nomad Delilah Jester, Bjorb, Lily Leones, Neris, Via, Sean Hamilton, Charlotte, Rio, Laura M, Atheat, Sylvan Pascoe, Joannis, Arta Aurelia, Vega Nelson, Demise, Mia Maple, Nicole, George Rosenbaum, Neurofilter, The Coombe Slayer, Summer Celine Garnet Midnight, Darius Fazier, Big Time Jim, Almost Dead Again, David Kaiser, Erica, Cortisol, Kay, and Bo Ya. That list is getting really long, to the point where I'm getting out of breath just reading them all. However, you guys are the reason I was able to get my new lens, and this audio recorder, and all sorts of other great stuff. Oh my gosh, it's been 13 minutes. I'm leaving now. Goodbye. I'll see you all at, hopefully, New Year's, right when it strikes midnight for me. Thank you for watching.